Hello, my beautiful audience. I decided to use this time that I'm alone at home and actually talk about something that I've been getting a lot of requests about, and that is how I raise my kids, my parenting advice. I, by no claim, want to consider myself a parent that knows it all or knows that it does it well. I think I'm just a person living in the role of a parent for the very first time, and as any parent that is, everyone who becomes a parent for the very first time obviously doesn't have an instruction book that comes with their child of how to handle. And no matter how many books I've read on parenting and how to best raise your children, and there's a French way of doing it, a Japanese way of doing it, I just realized that none of the book, I don't want to discredit the books for the work that they've done. They obviously can work as a roadmap, a guide of how to do your best, but by no means it's ultimate truth. None of these books are the ultimate truth of how to raise a child, because every child is different and every child has his or her own keys to life. And so I think it's very important to just be very, very attuned and bring on your intuition as much as you can, because the best way to raise a child is to raise it intuitively. Obviously hoping that you have a great sense of judgment and you are a rational person, and your intuition is actually protective and nurturing. So I think there are a few rules that I stand by, and those are just understanding that every child is very unique, and that just because it worked with one child doesn't mean it's going to work with a second. So I have two kids. My daughter is 10, my son is 7. My daughter is a very stubborn, very strong girl. She's very opinionated. She's a tough cookie. And my son is very soft, very loving, and he'll step back. He doesn't really like conflict. So they're very opposite in the way that their character is, but they come from the same parents, grew up in the same household. So understanding that, with my daughter, I am more strict, more demanding, more disciplined, whereas with my son, I guide him in a more gentle way, but still as demanding as I am with my daughter, but in a more softer way. Because he works with softness, she blossoms with strictness. But I don't mean necessarily that I'm strict in terms of I'm harsh, but it's just I'm strict with both, but with one I make him work in a I push him in a softer way. With her, I ask for results in a different way. So far it has worked, and I've observed them with the other teachers, and I see that my daughter excels wherever the teacher is demanding, and my son excels whether the teacher is is kinder and more understanding. So number one is understanding that every child is unique and working your way to finding the right keys to your child. The second is, I think the most important thing is making sure that your child has a structure and prioritize their sleep and structure and regimen. Some might call me super strict because I have certain rules of bedtime, certain rules of classes and what they should eat, and rules in terms of what should be eaten first and after. So no sweets before we have meals. So a lot of rules like that. But I realized that structure gives them security and safety and peace. They know what to expect. I don't show up one day thinking, okay, you can go to bed at 12. The next day I start, demanding that they go to bed at 9. They know I expect them to be in bed by 9 or sometimes 10, depending on the season. And because they know what to expect, their nervous system is much calmer, and they don't have this roller coaster of emotions as to, one day mom's okay with us going to bed at 12, the other day she's not okay. So I'm predictable in that way, and that kind of prepares them for my reaction of what is to come. They know that I want them to be in bed on time, and they try to do that. And also I think as a child and even as an adult, having a certain routine or regimen takes away stress a lot from your daily life. And definitely sleep is something that I prioritize the most. Above everything and anything, sleep is the most important thing for me, and I make sure that I prioritize that for my kids as well. The third thing as a parent is, especially as an etiquette teacher and a parent that is telling everyone, the whole world, of how to behave. I let them be kids. I am not disciplining them on etiquette at this age yet. I am trying to show them with my example, and I think they are slowly taking more and more through watching me rather than me preaching them. I am not someone who would, like, I don't know, slap their hand or their knees or their feet if they didn't do something correctly, as you see in like old movies where there's like a mother would guide the child of how to sit properly, how to hold hands, and how to hold cutlery. I haven't done that because I think they're just kids and have to enjoy their life as much as they can, being playful and spontaneous and really just enjoying their childhood. There will come a time when they will know that they want to do as mama does, and they will repeat after me without me having to be very annoying about it, because when you force the kids to do something, they tend to revolt after some time. Perhaps they would otherwise do it, but because they want to be going against you, they will not want to do what you're telling them to do. I've seen that happen a lot as a child growing up. I've observed other friends around me, acquaintances, how children would revolt against parents, that even if they actually maybe would have wanted to do it, but just because they want to go against their parents, they would not do what their parents were asking. So I think the best way to really set an example is by being the example rather than talking about being the example. So I think they learn a lot and acquire habits, especially by watching rather than hearing you say something. So if you're someone who is very hygienic, your child will become hygienic. If you're someone who reads a lot, your child naturally will start reading too, because that's what they see and observe around them. I will probably start being more demanding about manners at the table by the time they reach the age of 11 and 12, so as teenagers. But up until now, they've had the liberty of eating as they wish. The fourth important rule for me is making sure that I expose them to as many possible fields of study and areas of interest as possible, trying to make a professional out of them in anything yet, because I don't know what their forte is. So ever since they're young, they've been exposed to various languages, arts, sports, all kinds of different sports. They've done tennis, horseback riding, dancing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for my son, gymnastics, swimming, skiing. For languages, they've been, ever since little, they've been exposed to Azerbaijani, which is our native language, Russian, English, French. They went to a French school in the beginning, in the primary years. Sadly, it closed down, so we had to move schools. Spanish, and now they're learning Arabic. And I'm learning too, to show them that I'm actually doing what I'm asking them to do as well. So they've been exposed to languages, art, of course, and I'm trying to show them as many fields of interest as possible. And then it's up to them to choose music, so piano and singing classes. So for me, I want them to be people of Renaissance, if it makes sense. I want them to be able to do as many things as possible. They don't have to be professionals in anything specific, but they have to have a good knowledge and understanding about everything around the world. And then afterwards, when they have been exposed to so many disciplines, they can choose what they love the most, what's their calling, what they naturally are inclined for, and they'll end up hopefully making a career out of it. But exposing to as many disciplines as possible has been my primary goal as a parent. And they're still at the age where they haven't yet found what they really love to do. So they're in the phase of research and discovery, self-discovery. And I'm observing as a parent as to what their natural inclinations are. Because I think the most important thing we as parents can do is, first of all, as an outsider, we're able to actually see what they're good at, and then softly guide them through that if they put passion into it. And if they show that they want to do it more, then we'll guide them through that. I think that's key to being happy, being successful, is when you are doing what you love and doing it with passion, and then there will not be a day where you feel like you have to work, because that's something that comes easy to you and brings so much joy to you. So I hope that I'm able to do that as a parent, and not make them do something because it's prestigious or because everyone does it and because that's what aunties want them to do. Spirituality is a huge part of our life. I would necessarily say that religion is, because I am not pushing them to be ritualistic in the religion. So we are Muslims, and I would say I call myself a spiritual Muslim, not necessarily ritualistic. So I'm not asking my kids to go through certain rituals, but I do want them to have a strong connection with God and have God in their daily life. That's very, very important for me. So they're very much grateful, and it's beautiful to see how they try to pray, and they try to show their gratitude to God, and they pray when we go somewhere, or they pray when they've had a good day. So that's has been very important for me, that making sure that they're spiritual. And I guess the final advice I would say is, I just want them to be kind human beings. And by kind, I mean I want them to understand that there are things that cannot be put into words, and there are things that people cannot be labeled, or someone cannot be discriminated based on something that they're missing. I just want them to be understanding and kind to others, and not because it's cool to be kind or it's prestigious to be kind, and that if you're kind you're going to be liked, but because kindness is something that is a part of who they are. It's not for someone, it's for themselves. And I think kindness comes with being open-minded and being educated, not necessarily academically is not what I mean, but being exposed to different cultures, different religions, different humans, understanding that we're all very different, and that's part of beautiful life, and that's the beauty of life around us. That's something I practice, though I think been very judgmental growing up. I was judgmental towards others, I was judgmental about myself, but as I grew older and became exposed to more cultures and religions and people, I've become a lot more open-minded, less judgmental, and as a result I think more kind, in a deeper sense of kindness, not just offering help, but rather allowing people to be as they are and allowing myself to show up as I am. So I hope that this short video, spontaneous one on parenting advice, that came just out of my heart right now, I hope that you can take away certain things from this video. And if you have your own parental advice, please share below. I love when our community shares tips and shares feedback and personal experience, because that allows me to read through your comments and connect with you on a more deeper level, if there's any availability for deepness online, but as deep as we can to do it online. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.